Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Triple Play podcast. Still rolling with the double play as usual. Um, Preseason football, Nick. What we thinking?
I think the Bengals got clapped.
Yeah, well, the
It
Panthers
doesn't
didn't look
matter.
good either. But I think the main thing for us to do before we start this little video here, and sorry for the couch blending in with my shirt here, guys. I just stick with me. Focus on the words, not the sight. I think the main thing is don't get too invested in the hype or the downfall of any of these players. We're just giving you some suggestions today.
Yeah, don't buy into some of these guys just because we're hyping them up.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain guys that you're just gonna be inherently like drawn to as an individual, and that's okay. Listen,
Yeah.
go out and get your guys when you're doing fantasy football. I think that's the main thing to have fun and pick your guys and go get them.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
that's and I've said this for forever. That's what makes fantasy so fun for me is having guys that I enjoy in real life. Like, what's up?
Oh, no, no, no. I was just going to ask you, what do you think to start it off? What do you think was the number one thing? Like, if you could pick one thing that you think stuck out to you the most out of any of these games, what would it be?
Probably, honestly, the Green Bay running back, the rookie Emmanuel Wilson. He
Oh,
just went.
wow.
I mean, he just went stupid against us. 6 for 111, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I thought the Packers O looked pretty consistent throughout the game. I actually thought that they looked pretty methodical, but you got to think about it this way, and I was thinking about this when I wrote it down. A lot of times the first 15 to 20 plays on offense are scripted. So you know for a fact that the first team probably had a script that they were following. The
Right.
second team might have even went out there with a script they were following, and then so on and so forth. So, I'm a little up on Packers offense right now. I wouldn't mind to have Dubs right now. Wouldn't mind to have Reed right now. Like those are guys that I'm kind of up on. I'm still not buying Christian Watson where he is, but I like the Packers though right now.
Uh, I'm not big on the Packers though, ever really. Like now that Rodgers is gone, I wasn't super huge on it last year after Devontae left. But
Yeah,
I mean, they know how to win. They've
yeah,
always won. So maybe Jordan
absolutely.
Love can figure it out. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had to sit under Favre and learn a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe he sat under Rodgers and learned some. You never know.
If I had to say one thing that I thought stuck out the most to me, I think it was how underwhelming the Denver offense was. Like
Oh
again,
Lord, don't worry about it.
they stayed all the way pretty much to halftime and finally had a little scoring drive there, and everybody was, high fiving and everything. And I'm just like, bro, it's untelling who you're playing on defense at this point. So
Yeah,
I hope Sean Payton gets it together. There's some pieces in that Denver. It was a touchdown to Jerry Judy as well. So there's
Jerry
some
Judy's the
pieces in
man.
there. Yeah, I mean, I would like to have Javante Williams or Jerry Judy, or I even am looking for the rookie running back, rookie wide receiver Mims, later on in the draft. But I just once again it just didn't look very good at the beginning. Again, it's just kind of little, just I've seen this before kind of thing.
When Sean Payton elects to run 30 seconds off the clock just to call a timeout and literally ruin any chance that they had at winning the game in the
Yeah.
first week of the season against the new quarterback's old team,
Uh-huh.
then we can start talking about how bad the offense is.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. No,
But
I definitely think it's an upgrade at coach. So I think it'll be fine. It's if Russ doesn't get it done this year, I think he's out. Money, whatever. I think he's out of Denver.
no one's taking him.
Oh no, they'll take their dead cap hit, and then that'll be
Do you know
it.
how big of a cap hit that is?
Yeah, and I know that he would still think that he was worth a bit, you know.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, I mean Super Bowl winner, but.
Yeah. He's also a Super Bowl loser.
All right. You want to just start just throwing topics? I'll go. You
Um,
go. I go.
I thought Rasheed Rice looked pretty decent. in the Chiefs preseason game. Had 4 targets, 3 catches for 30 yards. I mean, just I mean,
I agree. You have to
yeah, I
feel good
mean,
about it.
didn't have any kind of crazy volume, but I mean, 3 for 30 on 4 targets in a preseason game is not bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think the main thing is like he didn't go out there and drop 3 passes.
get right,
He
yeah,
went out there and caught him. Had some decent air yards in his catches. So I mean,
right.
you have to feel good about it. Like you're always looking for a wide receiver piece that you could trust in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of people that are going to take their chance on Rasheed Rice.
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm
like it.
I'm looking for him in our draft. I mean, I may not get him, but because there may be someone that's super high on him because I mean, just logic takes you to Jerry Rice's son and Patrick Mahomes. That just makes
Yeah,
you want to take a chance there, you know. Um,
absolutely.
there's another guy from New Orleans, A.T. Perry, rookie
Yep,
receiver,
yep,
6 catches for 70 yards and a tud.
yep.
That's volume
How many
and
target? How many
very.
targets did he have?
Let me look real quick.
Because I know I noticed him, and he was somebody that I've been seeing later on, in dynasty drafts and stuff, and I've been like,
He had
I don't know,
six targets, 6 catches on 6 targets.
I actually put on here that I was a little up on the Saints offense. I felt
I think
okay
they'll be
about the
fine.
way that Carr was moving the ball around. Kamara and his you don't know who on defense is playing, but in his few touches, I felt like there was a little bit of that explosiveness. I didn't feel like, last year I think the main knock on him was everybody thought he had lost his explosiveness, like he had lost a step.
Right.
But I thought his couple touches actually looked like he might, have a little something left. So he's not in that 30-year-old, running back range, but I, there's a couple. Maybe we see a little bit of Michael Thomas this year, a little bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, we'll get to see him for about 2 quarters.
Yeah. So, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller is the rookie running back that you might want to have in that. Jamal Williams, they signed him, maybe be a goal line guy. And then A.T.
Let's
Perry, like you were talking about.
let's talk about Kendre Miller. 4 carries for 5 yards.
Yeah, I would say not to. I'm not gonna. If a quarterback goes out there and in his first drive he throws an interception, we're obviously kind of fading that guy in our minds. But a running back, I feel like it's harder to do it. Like if he went out there, had 4 carries and a fumble, oh yeah, he's a lot more trouble in my opinion.
Cut. Cut.
Cut him right now. Doesn't matter the draft capital. Get this guy out of town. He's
Cut
fumbling.
him.
He's got the drop
The
skis.
fans already hate him. They already don't want him.
But 4 carries, 5 yards. He's got. I think it was like third round draft capital, maybe. So I think they're just kind of waiting and seeing with him because do they need him to perform right now? Not necessarily, unless somebody was to get hurt. And that first
And
3 weeks,
well, I
with
was
Alvin
say they'll need
Kamara
him.
suspended. Yeah, you never know.
Well, Jamal Williams can be a lead back for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, he was having to be a lead back with the Lions last year a lot
yeah,
because
because I mean
Swift
Swift
was
was
so.
hurt.
Yeah, he was so limited in his touches. So no, I wouldn't worry too much just
How
yet.
about Jimmy Graham coming back? What is this?
Um, uh, don't draft him. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Somebody in
First
the re
round pick.
somebody in the redraft league. We got an auction draft that we play as our like redraft league. If somebody picks him up for $1 at the end of the draft, I
I'll,
would not be surprised whatsoever.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Oh dear.
I'll do it.
But no, I was up on the Saints offense. I'll tell you, okay, something that kind of stuck out to me is let's talk since we talked about Kendre Miller, let's talk about some other rookie running backs. Okay. Roshan Johnson. I know he's your guy, you're up on
Hmm.
Roshan. I know that he's kind of listed as the third guy in the depth chart right now, but you're not if you buy him, you're not I don't think you're buying him for insane production this season.
No. I'm looking
Khalil
for like
Herbert,
2 years from now,
yeah,
probably.
Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman are ahead of him, but I was talking to you about the fact that he busted off a little run there where I feel like he had some boys trying to tackle him, and he just wanted to show him what a man runs like. So
It kind of makes me wonder if he's gonna be like if he's a real just bruiser, is he gonna be a goal line guy for him?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like he just ran tough. He just really
Yeah.
ran tough, and none of those guys are small.
All right.
Like
Yeah. But
Khalil Herbert's not small. As far as like I'm talking like they're just beefy guys.
right.
I don't feel like anybody is like slender in that backfield. Deuce Vaughn. Hype train is lit. Get on, Nick. Get on. Choo choo.
Look, I've been
Yeah.
on the Deuce Vaughn hype train for centuries, it feels like.
Let's see.
But
What round am I prepared to take him in? I wrote it down.
Deuce, oh, good Lord.
I think he's going around the 15th in startups. So, which is what we're doing this year. We're in a startup draft. So, I don't know where he might would have went in your rookie draft if he even went. Maybe he's a guy that you're picking up after your 3 round rookie draft or something. I've seen a lot of people that do 4 round rookie drafts or even 5. I don't
We're
know if I
kind of
want to.
getting deep.
Yeah,
50 rookies.
it's getting deep for sure. But
Because
the
you, I
guy's
mean,
elusive, man. Like he showed how elusive he can be out there. Was he against the first string defense? No. Okay. Guy's elusive, made some guys miss, looked okay. I think he is going to be labeled weapon. Not necessarily that he's going to be listen, no, listen, listen. I don't think that he's going to
oh,
be
dude.
like a fantasy weapon by any means this year,
Mm.
but weapon for the Cowboys. We put him out there. He does a specific job for specific packages.
I've said this on here before. Like, I wanted the Bengals to draft him just for the receiving ability
Yeah.
because I mean, when he was at, God, what was it?
Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas. I thought it was Kent State, but I was like, no, that ain't right.
No, this isn't
Uh,
longest yard though. It's not Kansas State prison. It's not Kansas
sheesh.
State. Dude, longest
Um,
yard just stuck out in my mind right there. And he
longest
said
yard's
Kansas
hilarious.
State. He said no, Kansas State prison. But anyway, he was at Kansas State. Go ahead.
And like with this, I mean, with this no-name quarterback, he was
Hmm.
getting like 5, 6 catches a game. I
Yep.
mean, he was averaging crazy yards per carry there, but I mean, that's against
Lining
college.
up in the slot too. He was lining up in the slot a
Mhm.
lot there.
Mhm.
So I was watching some highlights today because I wanted to fully invest in the hype.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's nice.
He's
For
a
in dynasty
threat.
leagues, he'd be good.
He's a threat to take one to the house too. Like I think that's the
Yeah,
main thing with him. Like he can make a couple guys miss and take it to the house.
right. Yeah,
So we know the Cowboys have always been a pretty decent rushing offense. So and I do think that Tony Pollard and Deuce Vaughn could be used out of the backfield. They might both be on the field at the same time.
yeah, could be.
You just never know. Let's see if I wrote down any other rookie running backs. A Chain for the Miami Dolphins. I was kind of just like sideways on him. I wasn't getting too excited. Didn't feel like he did terrible. It was just kind of, he was just kind of there. And then everybody else, I didn't feel like there was anything else that really just stuck out in my head. Like Roshan had that run, Deuce Vaughn looked the way that he did, and I feel like everybody else was just kind of middling. But a lot of these other rookie running backs probably had to face a little bit more upper on the scale of defensive players that were across from them.
Right. Uh, is it pronounced A chain?
Yes.
Okay.
Or I've heard people pronounce it a lot of other ways, but I like the way that it sounds when I say A chain.
With your history of pronouncing names, Kobe, I'm gonna assume that it's like way more exotic
Listen, there's
sounding than
two
that.
there's two main podcasts that I listen to. One pronounces it A chain, another one pronounces it a totally different way that I don't like. It does not sound good. So Devon A chain is what I'm gonna say. So Nick, rookie quarterbacks. Any rookie quarterbacks that you saw out there that you were like up on, down on? Let's talk about them.
In my opinion, Bryce Young and Stroud look pitiful. Stetson looked the best.
Whoa, I think Stetson looked the best too. Let's be real. This is a Stetson. This is a Stetson Bennett
I think
hype
he's going to be a
channel.
good quarterback. Like,
Bro, listen, I'm down to take him on my last pick and just sit on him for like two
you're not getting
years.
him with your last pick.
What?
I'll take him before that.
Oh dear. Okay. Um, I think that Bryce Young's you know, unflashy play. It wasn't very flashy. It was very like conservative, and there's a lot of people that have given like the Panthers, play calling, even though it's preseason, a little bit of criticism because they played it so safe. It seemed like they were just playing it so safe. Panthers O line did not look good. They looked awful. And Bryce Young in his press conference said, "Oh no, I just got to get the ball out quicker." Like this guy is going to have the respect of the entire offense. So
Yeah,
if
but the
this
whole offense is going to suck.
no, if the offensive line can't pass block, they are going to suck. And I will say, early in the season last year, like that was a big struggle for Baker too. Was that they were getting on him so fast, and he's a shorter quarterback, so they're not going to be able to get the ball out fast enough. Then we decided in the back half of the season, hey, we're just gonna run the ball all the time. So I mean, like Miles Sanders, but no, it did not look good. I don't think it was for the fact that Bryce Young, the balls were there. There was one, drive that ended. We were backed up, and there was one drive that ended because Laviska Shenault was not, did not cut his route off quick enough. Like it was not the proper way to run his route. It was on him, not Bryce Young. Bryce Young put the ball where it was supposed to be, and he had to get it out quick because, like I said, offensive line did not look good. I've been listening to a lot of Panthers reaction videos today, and there's a lot of people were like really, really concerned about the way the O line has looked in camp and the way that the O line had looked on in the preseason game. Stroud, he threw a pick. I don't know if the Houston Texans are going to be good at all this year on either side of the ball. So I don't know if I'm fading Stroud based on what he even does this year. Period.
Right. No, I
I might
mean,
go ahead.
I'd give both of those. Well, I mean, honestly, probably Richardson too, just because, but maybe Richardson longer because I don't know when they're going to start him.
Yeah, and he threw a pick today. Like he started as
Yeah.
well and threw a pick as well. But his Richardson looked more raw than the other two, and that's what everybody knows. Everybody knows that. Like
Mhm.
Richardson's pick was off of a back foot sidearm that he just tried to Patrick Mahomes kind of
Mhm.
over to the side, whereas Young and Stroud looked like they were kind of, more fundamentally sound. Give them some time. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see next week. I honestly think next week would be a better idea of like how they're going to play because that first one's out of the way. Um, any quarterbacks in general, like any new quarterbacks in general or old quarterbacks in general that you saw that was just like, hey, creep up on us.
Um, I mean, Mr. Tim Boyle lit it up against the Panthers. So did Zach Wilson. That's pitiful, Kirby.
No, I think Zach Wilson actually looked pretty methodical. I didn't. Some of the linebackers I felt like looked good. The defensive line didn't quite get the push, but again, we don't have Burns playing. Derek Brown's not playing.
It's not even the same defense.
It's literally not even the same defense. If that defensive line's not playing, it's not the same defense. You're
Right.
right. But there were some plays in there where I was like, okay, that's a decent play. But yeah, you're right. They did move the ball on us, and we struggled. The backup D line and some of the starters in the secondary and middle linebackers struggled with the run a little bit too. So that was a little concerning. I tell you, some guys that stuck out to me. I thought Deshaun Watson looked like he was actually gonna like play a little football. He looked like he was willing to run the ball. He looked more like an athlete than he did at the end of last year. Um, I'll give you a few names here, and then you can go with it. I thought Jordan Love looked okay. I know that you're kind of down on Jordan Love. I know a lot of people probably are kind of down on Jordan Love. I thought he looked okay. And then there was one more that I wanted to mention. I thought Derek Carr looked good. And you had something. You said you looked at Trey Lance a little bit on what he was doing. So I'll let you
Do I
on
need to
that.
say that on here?
No, 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 no. I mean, like, are you down on Trey Lance? Like, do you still think Trey Lance is kind of we're just a no?
uh,
I don't even
no
know if
Trey
he.
Lance for me.
I didn't look at those highlights, so I don't know if he was the first quarterback on the field or if Sam Darnold was the first quarterback on the field.
It If Trey Lance can prove to me that he can throw the ball or run the ball, I'll say that he might be a good NFL quarterback one day. But so far in the game and a half he's played, he has not shown me shit.
Yeah.
I think it was a waste of a trade up and a waste of a first round pick by the 49ers, personally. But I
Hmm.
mean, I've been wrong before. He could prove me wrong. He's a freak of nature athlete. I just don't think he's a great quarterback.
We did. I felt like and I'll mention Will Levis just for the sake of it. I saw a couple good throws out of Will Levis. Not gonna lie, but I feel like they played it really, really safe with him as well. Um, I give these guys a week. Let's see what they look like next week, and then we'll give a little more heavier reaction
Yeah.
on the rookie quarterbacks. Um, let's see here. Some guys that I am fading. Jamison Williams for the Lions. Luke,
I
if
will
you're
not
watching
touch
this,
him.
I am so sorry right
I
now.
will not
But
touch him.
Jamison Williams literally they were trying to force feed him, had 7 targets. I think he only had 3 catches. If you can check that real quick, I'd really appreciate it. He did catch a touchdown on like a little one-handed grab where he was just like he had body position on the defender and just was kind of running toward the corner, but
Jamison
could not.
Williams did not catch a touchdown. He only had 2 catches for 18 yards, had 7 targets.
My bad.
They did not
Jamison
have a
Williams
receiving touchdown.
could not. Maybe it got called back. Maybe that's my fault. Because I remember seeing it on the video, but it might have got called back. That's my fault. Um, he could not create separation. Like period. It did not look good. It did not
Don't
look good from a
He's probably
guy
not
who
in
was
football shape.
probably not, honestly. Like I would say, if you're taking him, don't expect anything this year. Maybe next year.
Well, I mean, you can't expect much this year. He's suspended for the first 6 games
For the
for
first six
betting.
games, yeah. But I've heard some podcasts that's like, oh yeah, we're betting on him coming out of the suspension hot and everything, and I'm just like,
Why? He came off of his injury last year, colder than ice,
yeah,
in a
I'm
booming offense.
I'm not seeing it. Tank Dell though for Houston.
Did he look good? I hadn't looked at that one.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that he was Paquito. He's a little bitty. But
He's like
he's a
old
tiny guy. But
Deuce.
listen, there's some tiny guys that can play football, man. That can be weapons.
Steve
Um,
Smith.
Elijah Moore got traded from the Jets to the Browns. Okay. He looked like he was going to be, I don't know if you're drafting him for wide receiver output, but he looked like they were just going to kind of use him the way. I'm not saying he's like this player or has the talent level of this player, but it looked like they're going to try to use him like the 49ers used Debo Samuel. They were giving him handoffs out of the backfield, end arounds, screen passes. He's not Debo Samuel, so
That
don't
really
expect that
sounds like
production.
something the Cleveland Browns would try and do.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I mean, it really
Um,
does. I hope it really works out for him.
oh no, he looked good on a couple plays,
Yeah, I
looked
mean,
explosive, but
Johnny Manziel worked out for him. And what's that? The same dude they drafted like 16 picks earlier than him. He worked out for him too.
I love Johnny Football, man. When he came
Oh,
out,
I like Manziel too,
I was rooting for him.
but
Um,
I'm more shitting on the Browns than I
I
am
didn't
shitting
I
on
didn't
Manziel.
mention this guy in quarterbacks. I felt like Kenny Pickett looked okay.
That is so unfortunate.
That Kenny Pickett looked okay.
Yes, that actually is unfortunate.
Because
Um,
listen, I think everybody says that Deontay Johnson is the guy. He is a number one in Pittsburgh.
he's the
Is
one.
he Kenny Pickett's number one? Is the question.
Doesn't matter. He's the number one. He's going to have the most plays designed for him.
Designed for him. Okay. Do you think him and Pickens could have an even level
Nope.
of production? You don't think so?
Pickens doesn't have the skill level.
Really? So you're
Dude,
not
he
you're not
he
in on
makes
Pickens whatsoever.
no. It's not that I'm not in on Pickens. Pickens just does not get the volume that Deontay Johnson's going to get because
Okay.
Pickens is a physical throw the ball up. Let me win this 50-50 ball. Deontay's a slot guy that can also play on the outside. He's just gonna be open more. He's just gonna get the ball more.
Yeah. Now
And
what
what's up?
surprised me, you were talking like that. Pickens, the touchdown that he scored, he was coming across the middle, kind of
Mhm.
like a slot receiver would, coming across the middle, called it, made a guy miss, and he was to the house, 33
Mhm.
yards out. Um, maybe they changed the way that they use him this year instead
They
of just
could.
making him a jump ball guy.
I still with the weapons they have on that offense, like with Najee, with Fryermuth, with Darnell Washington now, with Deontay Johnson, I just really think that he just is your deep threat
Yeah.
because he's just he wins a lot of those jump balls. He just does. I don't know. He just got a thing for it. And
I tell you somebody else who, and you might have seen this too, that I think can be a deep threat for that offense. Calvin Austin was a guy that caught a deep ball in that game. He's a burner. He's a guy that I've heard on a couple podcasts here lately. Somebody that people
is
have
this
betted
Quez
on.
Watkins 2.0?
I don't know. He hasn't hit yet, Nick. He hasn't hit yet.
So he's Quez Watkins 2.0.
You don't listen. He looked good in the game. That's all I can say. Had a
Quez
little end
Watkins had
around.
like 2 games where he looked good last
Had a
year.
little end around. Had a bomb. But no, I mean, are
Hmm.
you targeting anyone where they are being drafted in the Steelers offense?
I
Who's
wouldn't
the
be against drafting Fryermuth or
I
against
agree.
drafting Darnell Washington, like in a later rounds.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I think that's
I've
kind of where
actually I don't really like Najee, but he got a lot better after that plate got out of his foot. So I wouldn't mind to buy low on him in this year's draft on our startup because it could be a steal, for the future to get him a little later in the draft this year. I don't know. It's tough. Running backs are just they come and go. Like,
Yep. Yep. And it's always been volume for Najee.
mhm.
That being said, Jalen Warren looked good in the preseason game as usual. He always looks pretty good. But it's going to be Najee, so don't get excited.
Yeah.
Let me talk about a situation that has been talked about a lot this offseason. The wide receiver situation in Jacksonville. Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. Now we clearly are putting Zay Jones as the third guy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty clear. Caught a touchdown during the preseason game. Caught a back
It's
back back of the end zone touchdown where Calvin Ridley was actually wide open on the same play. They were literally beside of each other. Calvin Ridley was wide open on the same play. Zay Jones gets the target. Just
probably
saying.
designed for Zay Jones.
It might have been for sure. He's tall. I mean, he's a tall guy, but Christian Kirk got the first touchdown of that first offense. And Christian Kirk's probably going, I think he's going about 2 rounds later, and I can pull it up just to be 1,000,000,000% sure. Who would you rather have, though, where they're being drafted?
Hurt.
Ridley or Kirk? Okay. That's it. Yeah, it is 2 rounds. Ridley is going in the 6th, and he's going around guys like Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, and George Pickens. Or Christian Kirk is going in the 8th around Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown, Zay Flowers. Those guys are going in that range.
Getting way better value out of Kirk in the 8th.
Yeah, and guys that are going in between them in the 7th, Terry McLaurin's going in there. Chris Godwin, D Hop is going in there. Jahan Dotson. I'm actually kind of big on Jahan Dotson. I actually kind of want, shares of Jahan Dotson as well. If I'm going wide receiver in the 6th and I'm choosing between Calvin Ridley and Debo, I want to ride out the rest of Debo's career. Honestly. Like it's according to how my first 5 rounds go.
Yeah.
That always is. But this mock draft that I'm looking at, I actually was drafting running backs in that area because I love the early round wide receivers. I like Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jackson, JSN. I don't mind DK Metcalf right now. We obviously think that JSN is going to be the guy later on, but like you said, I think I'm more Kirk for where he's being drafted. I mean, how big are we on the Jaguars offense? Are we talking like top five?
I'm pretty big on the Jaguars offense.
We talking like top 5 in the NFL?
Mm.
I mean,
What's their strength of schedule against opponent defenses?
Oh, I don't know. I'll just look up their schedule in general. Jacksonville Jaguars. Here we go. Schedule. Preseason. We want to see week 1. Here it is.
Indianapolis, Kansas City, Houston, Atlanta, Buffalo. There's a good defense. Indianapolis, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. There's a good defense. Oh, they face some tough ones.
There's some tough ones in a
Yeah.
row right there, but then it goes back sweet and soft.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's hard. Then a couple sweet ones in a row, and they end with like the Panthers defense is supposed to be okay, but then they end with the Titans. I think they could be for sure. I think they could be a top 5 defense.
I agree. I think they can be top 5. I think T-Law, I think I said this earlier in our group chat with the third leg of this triple play, that I think Trevor Lawrence makes that leap into that Burrow, Allen, Hurts tier. That second, I mean, Mahomes is in his own tier. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to jump up with that S tier of guys.
Yeah, no. If I'm in the back end of a first round of a dynasty, I am not worried at all if I'm drafting Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Or if I get him, let's say this mock that I did right here, if this happened, I would be too happy. At the end of like the 8th team, the 8th pick got him. They drafted CeeDee Lamb in the first round, and then a couple guys get picked. Trevor Lawrence falls to them coming back around in the second round. Like Justin Herbert went. Bijan went, Justin Fields went, Christian McCaffrey went. Then they ended up with Trevor Lawrence. That's a 10 team, but that would be nice. Um, I will say this, and we're just kind of throwing information right now. Rashad Penny did not think he looked very good.
Oh, really?
No, he just ran into the back of the line 2 or 3 times, and that was it. That was
Did
that was completely it, bro.
he
Like
pull Le'Veon Bell?
Trey Sermon looked good running against the twos. They've said that Kenneth Gainwell's getting a lot of the touches in practice, but he's like the between the 20s back. And then they said DeAndre Swift hasn't got that many touches. I think just because they're kind of worried about injury and stuff with him. Rashad Penny's the same way though. So
Yeah.
I just don't know. Um, Arizona. Nick, is there any Arizona Cardinal that you were interested in taking whatsoever?
From Arizona, probably not. I don't know. I just do not like their offense in the slightest bit. Like I would not draft James Conner. I would not draft Kyler Murray. I would not draft any receivers they have now that D Hop's gone. I mean, maybe if I could get like if Hollywood would fall to me like another couple rounds or something, maybe. But I'm taking a chance on a young guy over Hollywood.
I'm taking the only chance I'm taking with Arizona if I get in the middle rounds and I need James Conner because my running back room is looking too young or
Yeah,
something like that,
maybe.
I might would do that. But Michael Wilson is ADP around round 18 and he looked good in the preseason game. When he was targeted, he only had 2 catches. Those were the 2 balls I felt like he could catch.
Yeah.
Like he a possession wide receiver. He's 6'2". He's not small. He's 213, 6'2", 213. And coming out of Stanford, a lot of people talk very highly of him. I think if I'm taking a chance on somebody in the Arizona offense, round 18 is not a bad place to take a chance on anybody. So I don't
Oh
mind
no,
it.
round 18. There's not a bad pick in round 18.
Yeah. Clayton Tune, the quarterback, the one that, well, he wasn't the first quarterback on the field, but he was the second, Colt McCoy was. He did not look totally terrible for a preseason game. He did throw 1 pick, but that was because Rondale Moore fell down. It was a crossing route across the middle. Rondale Moore literally slipped and fell, and then there's the defender. It just hit the defender right in the chest. Like it was an Arizona Cardinals thing to do for sure. Like if there was an Arizona Cardinals ad, that would have been the ad. Um,
Ooh,
but Michael Wilson was a guy I wanted to mention for sure. Anybody else that like you've got listed that you want to talk about?
Have I talked about Iosivis yet?
No.
So Bengals, I think last draft pick took a receiver from Princeton, Andre Iosivis. He had 10 targets. Now only 4 catches, which I did not get to watch the game, but Burrow didn't make Burrow did not play at all. So it was not anyone that would be throwing him the ball in a game, actually throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
And Charlie Jones, who I am super excited about and gonna look for in a dynasty draft. He had 6 targets and only 2 catches. So I'm just gonna guess they were throwing the ball all over the place. And I don't know. I mean, they combined for 6 catches and 61 yards on 16 targets. It's just the thing that sucks the most is we're not going to get to see Burrow throw to him in the preseason any. So
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we don't know if he's going to have anything with him or not.
You don't
And
know you
right,
don't know if there's gonna be any extra wide receiver that has some rapport with
mm-hmm.
him. So
Because he already loves his first 3 guys, and he really likes Trenton Irwin, who would be the 4th guy in my opinion. So you're going to have to earn your keep with him. I mean, really, like there's just a lot of guys that Burrow likes to throw it to already. But
no, I agree. I agree. Um, there was one I wanted to mention something about the Buccaneers. Chase Edmonds, who we haven't talked about in a couple years, probably not in Dynasty necessarily, but somebody might still have him on the end of their bench somewhere. You haven't talked about him in redraft in a couple years. Chase Edmonds looked pretty serviceable, honestly. Like he looked the best out of the ones that they rolled out there. And then there's a wide receiver out of Nebraska. Trey Palmer, who the announcers were saying like this is why people missed on this guy. Like literally like people missed on this guy for this reason. And I'll tell you, I'll see if so he obviously he scored a touchdown. Okay. He caught all four of his targets, 33 yards, scored a touchdown, and he played from the second quarter kind of onward sporadically throughout the rest of the game. But, 6 foot, 192, not a humongous guy out of Nebraska. So that probably is not doing him any favors in the draft process. But just looked good. I mean, it looked like early in the game, the quarterback that was in was looking for him. Later in the game, the quarterback that was in was looking for him. It just looked like a thing where they threw it to him, he caught it. So I'd probably, look to throw it to a guy like that. You want to throw it to somebody that's going to catch it? Let's throw it to this guy. So I had to pick him in the mock draft that I did earlier. 25 rounds. I literally scooped him with my last pick. What's that going to hurt to take a chance with your last pick? So I think we got time for one more if you want to talk about one more guy. If you got to go.
There is a receiver, and I'm only talking about him because he was just a pretty decent pick for me in a franchise league in Madden, and I just noticed he had 3 catches for 68 yards against the Bengals the other day for Green Bay. So I thought I'd been thinking about taking a late round flyer on him in the Dynasty League draft. I'm leaning towards on it now for sure because I just really think there's no one that knows who the hell he is. And I would have no clue who he is if I had not just randomly gotten him in a draft on a franchise in Madden. Yeah. But I mean, he didn't have like some kind of like 60-yard catch where he like got all of his yards on one play or nothing. Like I think he had a 20-yard long. So like it was, or maybe it was the 24 or something like that.
And you haven't said his name yet, so.
Dontavion Wicks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you said it that whole time.
Oh, I apologize.
Sorry, I was just waiting I was like, oh, he's building it. He's building it.
Sorry,
he's going to tell him. He's going to tell him.
That's my fault.
You may have said it and I may have just missed it. Oh.
I thought I said it, but I may have just not. I'm an idiot.
Well, again, nobody panic. The first week of preseason.
Yeah,
nobody
first week of preseason.
That's the thing that I would lead you with. It's fun. It's fun to get excited, especially if it's your team that you're able to get excited about. But it's also, hard not to get a little worried about your situation too. But, I think we're good. You good?
There's going to be a video below Colby. Hit that one, or hit that if you want to watch that one and you like this one. Let us know what you thought about some of the rookies in the preseason games. Any guys you're looking out for in your dynasty drafts and stuff. Leave a like, subscribe. It's free, easy.
Please, free. Please.
Beg for him, Colby. Beg.
Beg for him, please.
All right, thanks, y'all.